Okay. So back to Philippines, no, or
No,
stay,
no, I'm just gonna be
stay.
here, but
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay. So can we start?
yep,
Yeah. Okay. So I will start the meeting. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to all colleagues from Invest International and all of the colleagues from the DG Water Resources, represent from the Directorate River and Coast, and also Balai, from Marijuana, join this meeting, and from my directorate. So three representative from the uh, DG Water Resources. So and also from Invest, Miss Nien and Alejandra. Good to see you again in this meeting. So last week we have received the team from the Invest, Pa Irun and Pa Daniel at the
yeah,
time, but we already discussed regarding the new step, I mean new stage for the drive crane in general. But actually, we have some detailed question that still not yet discussed within this meeting, because the meeting is what conducted only 1 hour, so only in general matters. And after
yeah,
that, we received the formal letter from the Invest International and also the draft of the grant arrangement. This morning, I contact with the Ministry of Finance. They asked about the draft agreement itself, whether it's still general without number of the grant and everything. But I I suggest them to contact directly with the Invest about the drive grant. So regarding this um, drive grant for the Semarang urban flood, we also want to know the plan from the Invest International itself regarding the two step. First for the bridging consultants, and second regarding the implementation of the civil work now, and also consulting services. So I think you already informed us regarding the requirements to continue for the drive grant, especially for two things that we should be fulfilled before the grant agreement, before signing the grant arrangement. First about the project implementation timeline, and also agreement on the procurement approach. So I think we start on that part regarding the procurement approach, regarding the bridging consultants, and then the preparation of the bridging consultants, procurement approach of the Kartini drain, and also the project implementation timeline. So I will stop in here. So maybe uh, I will offer to Miss Alejandra or Miss Nian regarding how to start off this drive and how was the planning from the Invest International. So I will offer to you. Thank you.
thanks a lot, Ibuari. We also prepared some slides to show the planning from our side so that we can share it with you and discuss it together. So I'll share my screen. Let me know once you can see it. Is it working?
Yes, it's work. We can see the slide.
So you have the slide of the timeline in front of you, right?
Yes, correct.
Perfect. So Nian and I discussed, and we did some thinking towards the next step and how much time every phase is going to take. As we discussed, the first thing that we need to do is to do the bridging phase to finalize the studies and the detailed designs, the finalized environmental impact assessments. This can be done once the GA is signed. So basically, after the signature of the GA, we can start the procurement of the bridging phase from the side of Invest. And this process in total is going to take around 6 months. So basically from early September, considering or under the assumption that we can sign there. I think this was mentioned by you, Ibu Ari, to Jerun and to Daniel. And then in 6 months, we could do the studies, review the studies. So that would be done by Q2 2027. So the first 3 steps would be signature early September, early November, we could sign the contract after doing the procurement. Then we do the studies, and by Q2 2027, the assignment is completed. And then we can do the procurement of the civil works in Q3 2027. And after that, there would be the construction, 16 to 18 months. So we could be done by Q1 of 2029. So this is the proposal that Nian and I were thinking about, but it would be very nice to have your thoughts on this. One point of suggestion that we can also discuss is that for us, we need to do the signature of the GA to start procuring the bridging phase. But we could consider moving the signature of the GA a bit earlier if possible, so that we can also do the procurement a bit faster. Because as you can see, we sign in September the GA, but then the contract for the bridging phase can only be signed in November because we need internally 2 months more or less to do the procurement. If it doesn't work, it's also okay, and we do it this way, but it's a possibility to go a bit faster if we sign the GA a bit faster. But we want to have your thoughts on this in general, if this timeline makes sense for you, and what are your thoughts? So maybe, yeah, we can stop here. Do you have any input on this, Ibuari, others?
Yes, maybe I would like to comment first, before I invite my colleagues to give a comments on this timeline. So now we now it's still July, so we have August and September. So if in this timeline the the GA should be signed in September 2026, but the procurement itself, it can be in advance. If we can finalize the terms of reference within this month in July, so the based on that, we can start the procurement, then signing the GA in September together with the or together with the after that 1 month maybe the what can I say, the TA can be signed in October. So this is the the first question from me. So can we do that, or it should be start the announcement to the consultants after the GA sign?
Yeah, this is a good question, Ibuari, and we were discussing the same thing yesterday, Nian and I. We already have the TOR drafted, and we want to share this with you, so it's possible to finalize together the TOR before. But the announcement for the tender, we can only publish it once the GA is signed, because without the GA signed, Invest doesn't have a mandate, doesn't officially have the funding to procure the works. So I think potentially signing the contract in October may be possible if we try to reduce the procurement period, for example, to 1 month, and maybe by mid-October we have a contract, but I don't think that much earlier than that. But we agree that we're going to try to do this as fast as possible, and we can finalize together the TOR before signature, and then try to be as fast as possible after the signature.
Okay, so I need to consult with the Ministry of Finance, because the GA discussion or negotiate or with the Ministry of Finance. I don't know how long they will take times for the discussion. Yeah, because if they start the discussion with you in the next one or within this month, then it could be possible to start the procurement earlier. But I think how fast Ministry of Finance, our Ministry of Finance discuss about the GA, I think I need to discuss with them. But for this time, I think the timeline is how can I say? The timeline is still acceptable, yeah. With the September or November. But this is from my perspective. But I would like to invite for the technical perspective from Balai and also River and Coast, yeah, regarding this timeline. So I need more time to for the timeline. Maybe from the River and Coast, or the Balai from Balai. Do you have comments on this timeline? Dari Direktorat Sungai Pantai ada yang mau komen untuk timeline ini? Mas Bagas masih mute kayaknya.
Right. Yeah, sorry, Bu Ari. Can I ask something regarding the timeline for the procurement, both for the civil work and supervision? Based on the grant arrangement, I think I saw that the supervision procurement is using ICP with UCPS. For the civil work, still using the national competitive bidding, which is like the timeline would be widely different, I think, for the duration needed for the procurement. We just make sure that is it like enough 6 months for the quarters to 2027 until late 2027 for the procurement for the supervision itself? Because usually for the civil work, using the national competitive bidding procedure, it only takes like 3 or at worst 4 months. But for the ICB, usually it's more than 6 months. I expected to it. So therefore, the supervision is possibly will be contracted very late, I think.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is a very good point as well. We were discussing internally that maybe we could start the supervision contracting earlier, and listening to your comment, we think that even more now.
Yeah, exactly. If that would be possible for you to start the procurement of supervision much earlier or way before the works. So I think it's good to agree on that. And I think it also makes sense, perhaps when we still have the bridging consultant on board, to already start the procurement of supervision, but we'd like to hear your thoughts about that, whether that's possible.
Masih mute, Mas Bagas?
Sorry that there's a little bit of issue in connection in my part. I think I kind of missed the last part of from Alejandra that regard. I sorry, maybe I missed something. Can you repeat again? Sorry.
Yeah, we were asking whether it would be possible to start the procurement of the supervision earlier, because we know that it's going to take longer based on what you said. So maybe we can start 3 months earlier for the contract of the supervision.
Yeah, I think there are. Is it possible? We would like to propose that maybe the procurement for the supervision can start after the bridging has been duration of maybe at the middle of the bridging consulting, maybe around start from the January or February 2027. We can start the procurement for the supervision, because I think the document needed for the supervision is not as complex as the one for the civil works.
Yeah.
I think it's possible to maybe take 3 months from before second quarter of the 2027. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks a lot. We can indeed adjust the timings you suggest.
All right, thank you. Yeah, as long as we have the basic design, we can calculate the estimation needed for the supervision contract.
Perfect.
And maybe we also would like to ask you, but Alejandro will share the draft TOR for the bridging consultancy. What do you think of the 6-month assignment? Just a general question, because we know that the develop to build phase, where the first part of the NUFREP interventions were reviewed, that took quite some time. And so we want to make sure that we align the expectations regarding the review process, but also clearly identify the parties that will approve the detailed engineering designs. So 2 questions. First is whether the 6-month assignment is realistic. Of course, we want it to be realistic because of the time pressure also internally. And second, the composition of a sort of approval committee for the deliverables during the bridging phase.
Ibu Ari, maybe you can comment on that?
Okay. So regarding the scope of works of the bridging consultants, we need to check how details that the implementation stage needed. Yeah, I mean, based on the last report that we already received, we need a kind of the detailed report on the social and environment documents. So I heard that the city of Semarang already prepare a budget within this year. So I think I need to check again how detailed that they already support on this report. So the 6 months, for the bridging, it's quite tight, I think, but for the time implementation to prepare of the detail DD and also environment and social report, yeah. But I need to check again for the technical directorate and also balai about the 6 months based on their experience, ya. Maybe from Mas Bagas atau balai ya, untuk bridgingnya cukup nggak 6 bulan?
Izin Bu Ari menanggapi. From our side, yeah, we took from maybe Balai will add more from this, but for our requirement, which is like for 6 months for DED is enough, I think, because it's just mostly review design that previously already made by the previous team. But for the AMDAL and LARAP, I do think it will be need more time. I think because it's quite impossible for the AMDAL to be finished 100% at the end of the bridging period. It takes more time. And for the LARAP, I think based on the grant amount and the amount of personnel needed, I think I still feel like it's not enough for 6 months to finish the LARAP. I think, yeah, it's possible to add more time. But maybe Balai can add more perspective on this matter.
Oke, ya mungkin izin Bu Ari menyampaikan dalam bahasa. Jadi terima kasih tadi disampaikan oleh Mas Bagas ya. Jadi untuk bridging dengan waktu 6 bulan kami rasa cukup dengan lingkup hanya pendetailan dari detail desain dan pengambilan untuk survei, karena di Semarang di lokasi sendiri memang masih memerlukan pengambilan data geologi maupun topografi yang ada. Jadi ini di luar dari lingkungan ya, karena dari lingkungan memang akan dihandle dari pemerintah kota Semarang. Nah, dengan waktu 6 bulan ini kami rasa jika tanpa mengurus izin lingkungan, kami rasa cukup untuk waktunya. Mungkin seperti itu. Dan untuk terkait dengan izin lingkungan sudah dianggarkan melalui anggaran dari DPU Kota Semarang untuk tahun ini untuk penyiapan izin lingkungannya. Mungkin itu yang bisa kami sampaikan. Jadi untuk lingkupnya meliputi analisa terkait dengan desain pompa, kemudian terkait dengan untuk pengukuran trase saluran dari Kartini sendiri untuk drainasenya. Nah di situ dari studi sebelumnya dari D2B memerlukan informasi tambahan terkait dengan data pengukuran untuk utilitas yang ada di sepanjang drainase, termasuk untuk data geologi dari drainase Kartini. Nah ini mungkin kami untuk dengan 6 bulan ini kami rasa cukup sih untuk pelaksanaan bridging. Mungkin itu Bu Ari.
Yeah, so I would like to convey in English. So from the balai, say that to complete the DD for the pump design and also additional survey for the utility surrounding area. So it will be enough for about 6 months. But for the ASEA itself, as we already discussed with the city of Semarang, they will prepare for the detail. What can I say? Detail to issue the permission from the city of Semarang, but we need to check it first whether they already provide the report that we need, or they only help the process to issue the permission from the local agencies, especially dealing with the environment's permission. So if they didn't prepare the detailed report of the AMDAL and for the environment and the social report, so I think we need to consider to include it in the bridging. But Henry, for the scope of the bridging itself, it will also cover the detail of the report, or Balai will rely on the Kota Semarang for the report of the AMDAL and LARAP.
That's a good question. That's actually also my question already that I have in mind. So if I'm hearing you correctly, Kota Semarang, they're preparing a sort of report for the AMDAL and for the LARAP. I don't know exactly the process, but it would be good to understand then how that links to the deliverables and the scope of work of a bridging consultant. So I think this is something that we can obviously still agree on because we're still working on the TOR. I mean, we have it, we can share it with you. But just to understand, so Kota Semarang, they prepare, and is it DHL or DPU or who prepares this report, or is it mainly the city itself that prepares the documentation? And if the city prepares it, what would then be the responsibility of the bridging consultant? Because for us, obviously we have our own environmental social impact assessment requirements, so that's our own ASIA. But AMDAL is of course the one that will be relevant for the actual implementation of the project.
Yeah, so please, Balai, apakah sudah dipastikan? So, is it already confirmed to the city of Semarang? What is the deliverable that will be produced by the city Kota Semarang to help us, especially on the environment and the social document?
Ya, Bu Ari, ini kami konfirmasi kembali ini barusan dengan Pak Ismet dari Kota Semarang. Memang tahun ini dianggarkan untuk terkait dengan pengurusan izin lingkungan dan ya mereka intinya sambil menunggu nanti dari bridging untuk desainnya seperti apa, nantinya akan disesuaikan dengan kegiatan di mereka untuk izin lingkungannya. Jadi secara pastian untuk anggaran izin lingkungan ini tahun ini sudah dianggarkan. Seperti itu, Bu. Jadi untuk environment dan sosial mungkin sudah dengan Pemkot ya, Bu.
Please make sure that all of the budget will provide the deliverable for the environment and the social report. Yeah.
Yep.
So because if we miss these things, I mean, we have to make it ready before the implementation of the projects. So it's very critical things that we need to make sure with the city of Semarang regarding the deliverable that they mentioned about the environment and also social documents. And if they produce kind of the report until the permission, so I have a question to invest. Is it will invest directly receive on that report, or the bridging will review on that part? So I think it's also should be clear mentioned in the terms of reference of the bridging. Do they need a review for the environment and social, or they just give some kind of the comment on that, or they just receive it and then combine with the DED? So I think it's also the important thing that we want to make sure to cover in the scope of works of the bridging.
Because if it is included, then it would have to be longer than 6 months. That's what we're discussing now.
I think the question is because Kota Semarang is leading the preparation, and normally it takes a long time. And the question is then, if our consultant reviews it, and it's included in the deliverables, which it is included, that will affect the timeline of the bridging phase. Essentially, so if we just think about the assignment of the consultants, well, let's first look at the implementation. For the implementation, Invest International needs to approve the ASIA and the AMDAL and the LARAP because they need to meet our own environmental social governance requirements. So definitely before we can implement, that needs to be approved. And one of the role of the consultants indeed is to make sure that these deliverables, these reports comply with such requirements. So that's the answer to your question, Bu Ari. But I think then, so just thinking out loud what we can do with the tour. Of course, our consultants or whoever gets the assignment could work together with the municipality of Semarang. I think the question then is, when do we expect that ASIA, AMDAL, LARAP reports to get started? Maybe that will help us a bit, estimate the timeline and see what's realistic and not.
So I think we need to make sure to the city of Semarang, the timeline, especially within this year, what they already done with the preparation of the environment permission. But I think whether they use the basic design or the first report to start the preparation of the environment documents, or whether they already prepare for the social problem. So I think I need the help from Babale to make sure with the city of Semarang what they already prepare and what they already done on this part. So if they haven't do anything, so I think it will be better that we prepare under the bridging. So it means that the bridging consultants will more than 6 months.
Yeah.
So
Maybe I remember when reading all the documents that in this case a full AMDAL is not needed, that a simplified approach is going to be used. Perhaps that helps save some time.
Yeah, and I think I'm just wondering, and I think it's critical also to involve Kota Semarang in the discussions.
Yeah.
So, so what we want to make sure is that when we tender out the bridging consultancy, that we really indicate a realistic number of months. But then I think to make that work, we really need to know before we tender out what the role of Kota Semarang is, how they're gonna do it. So I think we can benefit from a discussion with them also involved, and that also brings me to my second question earlier. How do you foresee the approval committee for all the deliverables of the bridging phase? So will there be an approval committee consisting of PU, SDA, and BBBS, and also Kota Semarang? So how do you see that coming along? Because I think it will make it also easier as we intend to share the bridging phase TOR with you, and we can already agree on these details.
yeah, we will make a confirmation formally to the city of Semarang, as they already explained in the coordination meeting with us before we start the before we receive the final report. So I think we will make a final confirmation once again with them. So based on that part, they'll confirm the final confirmation. So I think it can be one of our base to finalize the scope of work of the bridging consultants.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Then we wait for your input, right? After discussing with Kota Semarang.
Yes. So for the Asia part, I think I need a formal confirmation from Kota Semarang, and then for the technical parts, DD and everything, we can give the first comment on the draft of the TOR first. So I think we do it in parallel. So after we complete all of the comment for the scope of work of the bridging consultants, so we will share to you the final comment to include all we need for the bridging consultants. Is it works for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works.
Maybe we can briefly have a look at the procurement plan to see if you have any discussion points for that as well. I can share my screen very quickly. Discussion. Let me know if you can see the presentation.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so this is the procurement plan that we have suggested in our documents, starting with the bridging phase. As we discussed, this is to be procured by Invest International, and we already discussed about the TOR. For the civil works, our proposal is to go with NCB, so National Competitive Bidding. And as we discussed, this would be procured by BBWS Pemalijuana with a request for bids. And our proposal is to go with a one-stage to envelope approach with a red FIDIC book. So we wanted to know if this approach is okay with you and have the confirmation. And for the supervision, we also already mentioned it during this discussion. The idea would be to go with ICB with a white FIDIC book that would be time-based, but the total amount of the contract would be capped to the maximum budget. So regarding this point, it would be nice to have your confirmation on this approach, and also that you let us know if some type of procurement support is needed, and if so, which type of support.
Yeah, and as you can see there, we already put the amount for the supervision. This was based on our discussion with the consultant for the develop to build when they were estimating what costs could it be for the supervision. So just so you know, this is also what our investment committee approved. So it's 310,000 euros. This will be reflected or already is reflected in the grant arrangement, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, in the total amount for TA indeed.
Yeah.
Maybe I convey to my colleagues from River and Coast. Regarding the confirmation of this, yes, we agree that in the beginning the civil works will procure in the national competitive bidding, but again we propose at that in the letter that we will use the harmonized that we already use in the NUFRA projects because we thought that this is parallel financing with the NUFRA projects. And then the second is about the supervisions. Because this is international competitive bidding, there's only one type received by the invest for the hiring the international consultant. So we already have this also in the NUFRA projects using the QCBS under the World Bank guideline. So regarding the red FIDIC book, so I'm not really familiar with it, so I will offer to my colleagues involved, the Directorate Different Costs and also Balai, whether the harmonized bidding documents for the national competitive bidding and also the ICB under the World Bank guideline that we already conducted under the NUFRA project is the same things with refer to the red FIDIC book. So I think I need the comments from them. So silakan. So I will offer to Mas Bagas, silakan.
Terima kasih Bu Ari. From our side, yeah, we are not have an issue with the civil work procurement using national competitive bidding. And for the supervision, while we will use the international competitive bidding QCPS, yeah, our first concern is yes with the time, the duration, which usually using QCPS is for each step of the procurement, we will need to request for the no objection from Invest International and there are even though it's only one stage to envelope, so but I believe it will take more than 6 months. And also, we also have concerns regarding the procurement for the supervision is by PPWS Pemali Juana or maybe more specifically with the PP2JK Jawa Tengah, yeah. If from the Central Java, we have concern regarding if they are familiar with the QCPS International Competitive Bidding, if the PP2JK as the procurement agency, they can do this type of procurement because it also if they are based on our past experience, if the procurement agency is not really familiar with the procurement step, then the procurement duration would take a much longer time. So yeah, maybe Balai can also answer this question. I think that's all for now from Directorate River and Coast.
Thanks a lot. And maybe could you repeat again the name of the agency that you mentioned for the procurement? That maybe it's going to be a bit difficult for them to do this process.
Yeah, in our case, for both the civil works and supervision will be procured by we usually say it in English as procurement agency of Central Java, but maybe in Indonesia is PP2JK, PP Jawa Tengah. I don't know how to word it in
Maybe write it on the chat if you can, and then we check the name there.
Yeah, like Asa wrote that PP2J. Yeah.
Maybe also a question, because I think Ibu Ari already asked. For the NUFREP interventions, aren't you using also ICB QCBS?
Ada satu paket sih. For the Semarang, put Kali Silandak and put Silandak and Semarang, we use the national competitive bidding both for the civil works and also for the supervision.
Okay. I think then we hear the points here, especially your concerns. I think also earlier we've already discussed, then we can obviously start also the procurement during the bridging phase. What Alejandra mentioned earlier is that procurement support is also part of the assignment. So we recognize that if there's perhaps a concern regarding the capacity of the procuring entity to implement such an approach, then we could definitely deploy the support of a consultant. So I think that aspect we can address with the bridging consultancy. And for that, again, in the scope of works, we would need specifically your input on the kind of procurement support required to be able to implement the ICB-QCBS. So if we can agree on this point, then we could also then expect you to provide your comments on the procurement support deliverable for the bridging consultancy. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Perfect. And regarding discussions on procurement, who would be our focal contact point? Ibu Ari, maybe you can comment on how we can structure this process. Who should we contact for procurement discussions? Would that be through you and you coordinate us, or how should we do this?
Yeah. Because for the procurement in our side is can I say it's a different agency. So the point contact, if of course the balai who will do the procurement itself, but for the procurement process itself, balai only have authority to ask about the status of the process itself. The main authority that the main contact that have full authority is the procurement committee under the DG management
Construction.
Construction management. So the first thing that I can do is I need to confirm formally in the central office with the DG management construction, and then the construction from the central office to the procurement committee in the Central Java to conduct this procurement ICB and also NCB under the grant projects. So for the focal point, I think you need two persons, one from Balai as a implementing unit and one from the DG construction management represent the regional office in Central Java. But you can contact through us to the DG Water Resources, and also for the procurement committee in the regional office, I need to check who will be the PIC for that, to discuss of the step, because the process directly sent from the procurement committee to the invest what can I say, to the invest international to give the comments or no objection on the each part, and then to get the no objection from the each stage from the Invest International. The Invest International, we appointed the consultants to check the document and give some technical recommendation to the Invest, and then Invest give the formal letter for the no objection, or it's directly to the invest management to give the approval of the no objection. So I think the part of the consultants bridging should be clear in this process of the procurement, that then we will convey this consultants or the invest will involve on the procurement process. Do you get my point? Because it's a little bit complicated on this.
Yeah, could you repeat that again? So how you foresee the statement of no objection? I didn't fully understand.
Yeah. So let's say the first stage is to ask the no objection about the bidding documents. So the balai the implementing unit from balai will prepare the bidding documents and then share to the procurement committee in the regional office. So during the process, after the procurement committee has received the documents, he will contact directly with the invest. So who will be the focal point from invest to give the prior review or to give the no objection on this. So after the no objection get from the Invest International, so we continue for the next step. My question is, who will be involved on this process? The bridging consultants or invest directly from the invest office? Yeah. So
Right. Question, Ibu Ari, are we talking about the civil works?
no, the QCBS.
The
prior review.
The IC, okay. So because we're discussing of starting the procurement of the supervision during the bridging consultancy phase, the bridging consultants could still be involved because this is the procurement support aspect. As far as we understand, you won't have any issues with the procurement of the civil works itself, but more on the ICB-QCBS. And indeed, we need to provide a no objection on this. But the assumption is that if this procurement starts when the bridging consultants are still on board, they can already support the procuring entity with working on this tender documentation. And the expectation is that still the government sends to us officially these documents, and we provide as Invest International. So normally this is also the work that Alejandra and I as investment managers would do. We would review these documentation with an expert, and then we provide our statement of no objection based on the agreements and the conditions that we've agreed prior. So essentially the whole process of statement of no objection with or without a consultant should come from the project owner. So in this case, you as our counterpart, and you send it officially to Invest International. Alejandra being the main contact person for this supervision procurement, and then we provide our statement of no objection. And the same goes for the civil works process.
Okay. So I think we need to write the process,
Yes.
on one letter or one procedures to be followed for all of the related partners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I need that part to explain to the director, construction management also, so everyone will be clear, not will be dispute during the procurement process.
Yeah.
So, and also the involvement of the consultants, the bridging consultants, how far they will help on this, it should be clear, because the to make the procurement independently process. So yeah, I think this is our concern for this procurement. For the point number 3, I will check after I discuss with the Directorate General of the Construction Management. But I think one person from the regional office would be the PIC for this procurement, and also Balai.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. We can also share some meeting minutes after this discussion, and we can explain how the SONO process works from our side, so that you can also consider that in your discussions.
Yes. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, so I made a bit of a summary slide, but we can also discuss it based on our conversation now. So we agreed now in receiving your feedback on the contact person, Ibuari, and also confirmation from Kota Semarang on the timeline for the environmental processes. And we also need to, via all these discussions, finalize the timeline and procurement before the GA signature, so that we have that as a condition precedent.
Yeah, and I think the point there, why we need to finalize this before the GAs, because many of these conditions are already reflected in the grant arrangement special conditions. So once the grant arrangement is signed, then we follow all of these conditions to be able to execute the grant for the project.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll also share the TOR, so we can co-develop it and finalize it in the incoming month. We will await for the feedback on the GA from both PU and Ministry of Finance. I imagine that you're going to be coordinating that. Ibuari will also give us your feedback on how we should plan the next steps for this process.
Yeah, I think there's someone raise hand first. Maybe they give some comments. Silakan Mas Bagas.
Ya, terima kasih Bu Ari. Thank you so much. Sorry, I think before we get, we would like to ask a few things. First, I think from Pale already explained that the environmental assessment document will be prepared from the government of Semarang. However, I think there is a possibility that the document made by the government of Semarang might not be fulfill the criteria as written in the appendix. I think in the annex that the criteria should follow the ASEA, follow the IFC performance standard. So we wonder that who will be doing the revision if the document ASEA document made by government of Semarang does not fulfill the criteria. Is it by the bridging or from the government of Semarang? That's the first point. The second point is regarding the LARAP itself. At this discussion, we have not yet known the status of the LARAP. Will it be prepared also from government of Semarang, or is it would be done by the bridging consultant? I think that's the two main question for now.
Thanks a lot. Regarding the completing the environmental studies, if needed, that's the work of the bridging consultants. So they should be able to make sure that they fit the criteria of invest. And regarding your question of the LARAP, could you repeat again what your question was?
For the LATAP, I think this is more the question from Balai. For the Balai itself, is the LATAP already done some studies previously or not? And also, if the LATAP has been done yet, is the LATAP will be handled by the bridging consultant or by government of Semarang?
Yeah, I remember reading a bit about the LARAP and that not big resettlements are expected in this location, but the bridging consultant, sorry, the D2B consultants have not done the LARAP, so this has to be done from scratch. I guess the LARAP is also to be developed by our bridging consultants. I'm looking at Union now.
Yeah, to be honest, I think this is also a critical question because from our understanding, indeed, from the D2B consultants, there is not a lot of land reclamation expected or for the project. I would like to ask what is being done for the NUFREP interventions in this case. like for the land acquisition and the resettlement action plan for the NUFREP interventions, how is it being done for the NUFREP interventions in Kalisilandak and Semarang, if applicable even?
Yeah, there's a few things, Bunyan, that we do from NUFREP side about Larap condition for Semarang Baru and also Silandak. We are preparing a land due diligence report for the project itself. If there is a resettlement, also a land problem that we find in the project itself, because a few times we find out that there is an occupant that is not actually belong to the area, but we have to comply with the government rule about the Larap situation, Bunin. And usually we do exercise two supplementary, that is safeguard supplementary that we have talked about before. Also, the other one is supplementary for land due diligence report. I think that's a document we have to comply with the Indonesian government about the condition of the occupant in that area. So we also do that in Semarang Baru and also the Silandak project right now.
And could you also facilitate this documentation for this project as well?
Well, I think usually we do need a consultant supporting Buale Jandra. So from our recent project, we are usually contracting social specialists and also safeguard specialists as the two main aspects for readiness criteria in World Bank project Union Buale Jandra. So I think that is our request also about the bridging. If we can get facilitating to comply with the document also and also have a specialist to make it, it will be more helpful for us. Yeah. And also, if we can request also about the procurement expert that you have talked before to help the POKJA or BP2JK more smoothly to be procuring.
Okay, clear.
Yeah, clear. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's something in the TOR that we've already indicated. So I think again, when we share it, you can comment on those support that we've included in the bridging consultancy TOR. We also did mention there having a social specialist.
Yeah, that's included.
Yeah, that's included. So I think then we've responded to this question, Pa, to these two questions.
Yeah, I think it's quite clear enough from us. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thanks a lot.
I think from the technical perspective about the social environment performance already give a comments on that. So hopefully the bridging can help to fill the gap that we need to finalize before the implementation of the civil works. Regarding your summarize about the minutes of meeting, the comments from the grant arrangements, I think we need to I need to ask to Ministry of Finance whether we will do the separate discussion with them, or you will do the discussion with the Ministry of Finance. I think I will follow up the Ministry of Finance comment on this. So based on that, we will provide the technical support document to be included in the grant arrangement if needed by Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, Could we agree within, I don't know, within a week or two? Is it realistic for a clear path to start the discussion on the grant arrangement? Just to make sure that we could reach our target of signing the grant in September, should there be a lot of discussions and back and forth with the Ministry of Finance and Invest International?
I think we need to meet at least one time by online to see our
Yeah.
position. I mean the Ministry of Finance position, because
Yeah.
I contact within last week and this week. They asking about the grant arrangement, and I don't know the answer actually. So if
Yeah.
possible next week, if they have time or they will contact you directly, we can arrange a online meeting first to because they compare with the other grant arrangements that's from the invest grant arrangements is a little bit different. But I asked them because Ministry of Health, I think already have
Yes.
example of the grant arrangements.
Exactly. Yeah. We already signed one with a drive grant arrangement with the Ministry of Health. I had that discussion with the Ministry of Health, most of them, not with the Ministry of Finance, but we negotiated. We from the beginning of the discussion until the signing, it was 2 months. So we did it in 2 months. A bit of a hectic process, but it worked out, and we had several meetings and exchanges, documentation. But I think it would be a very useful precedent to this discussion, because I mean it's also drive. The only difference is the amount in this case. There's also an interest from our side and from our higher management to travel to Indonesia to potentially sign this in September. So I think it's more on the process that we could definitely agree on, and the content, obviously, that will be part of the, let's say, negotiations.
Yeah, it's okay. So at least we can discuss next week maybe with the Minister of Finance for the
And then you'll get back to us, right? You let us know, or yeah, I think it's better you let us know what the next step will be, so we can also manage internally how we are approaching the discussions.
I will send you email and with the looping with the PIC for the Ministry of Finance who will handle on this, so we can arrange the meeting by the email that I share you the loop. Okay.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's everything from our side.
Yeah.
Are there any other points that you would like to bring, Ibu Ari?
Yeah, I think for this time is it's enough for me. So I
Enough
need to check.
information.
Yeah, I need to check the timeline and what is the. I think I need to consider if we need to several option to do the timeline, or we try to not to delay again of the preparation of this project. Yeah, and check with the local government. So after we have an update, and if we need to discuss online, I will contact to you again.
Yeah, perfect. Then we'll share the meeting minutes after the discussion, and we can continue discussing over time.
Okay, and also the terms of reference, the draft. When will you share?
We'll also share those so that you can use this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that you can comment on them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Ya, thank you Mas Alejandra, Miss Ning. Terima kasih
Bye-bye.
Bapak Ibu sekalian. Kami akhiri rapatnya. See you. Have a good day. And I hope you okay. Thank you. Terima kasih untuk Bapak Ibu.
Thank you.